Okay, guys, I wasted about an hour of my life doing an absolutely quick as I could possibly do, almost a full port job on this intake and exhaust port. And when I say an hour, I mean I turned the grinders way up and hit it like a maniac, and took out a decent amount of metal just to get see what these things shape up like, or if they shape up. They may be big loss. Who knows? Notice I didn't touch the valve job. It's exactly what it was. You can see how far I came up into the bowl, up to the third cut. And our exhaust, let's move the light. Okay, I didn't go crazy just getting every nick and cranny on it, because that's not what I was doing. I was just cleaning it up more or less. And I put somewhat of a radius up to the third cut. I didn't go all the way to the seat, I don't think. Well, actually, it looks like I did on a lot of it. But in any case, it's nowhere near my usual quality that I show you guys. It's an hour-long rough out. Didn't touch the chamber. Chamber's exactly stock. Does our liquid look any different? Let's move that light again. Okay, our liquid goes pretty much right to the roof. It looks a little bit wider. Let's take a quick look at the bore and see if it looks any better or worse. Okay, it looks a little bit different than last time. It has almost no chunkiness on the bore. We can see a little bit of our angle this way. But this is just a very light powdering of blue on that. This is what our valve looks like. Remember, no back cut. So we got some action right on that edge there. And that's it. Remember, when you do a back cut, right, the air can follow this edge of the valve a little bit closer. So I would think we would get more of a liquid on the valve with a back cut. One thing that is nice about these is they have a nice, the bowls look much more generous when you cut it for a bigger valve. You do have to watch, though. I mean, even though I only did a cleaning up on this, relatively thin, right between the valves on that intake. So it's good to know, right, guys? Okay, we got plenty of lumps and bumps inside the port. Notice I didn't even hit that roof in that spot, because it goes in and out quite a bit right there. And somebody said that lump at the end of the guide was for the bolt that goes through. I forget exactly what they said, but in any case, we were able to take it through. Notice I didn't, the floor is kind of rough and nasty. I took off some of the guide, but I didn't shrink it like I really would have liked to, because it's just time. And this just got very quick going over, take some lumps and bumps off. I did not open the pinch, because the pinch was not holding us back last time we flowed it. Okay, the short side got a touch widening, a touch of a layback, very, very minor. More like smoothed the cuts out than anything else. You can see the hard angles in that bowl. All right, you straighten that out, widen it a little bit, give it a touch of a layback, let it eat. Okay, I didn't go out of my mind with the roof, because as you can see, there's still a spot where it was way too deep. Now, these aren't thin. I could have evened that up and made it look nicer, but I was running out of time. Somebody asked about matching the outlets of an exhaust to the header pipe. Unless it's an all-out high RPM build, I wouldn't do that. Anything that's going to be driven at lower RPMs, I like an anti-reversion edge where the exhaust port on the head is smaller than your header pipe or your exhaust manifold. Okay, a little bit different view of that bowl. What can I say about it? I actually took a decent amount of metal out of that bowl. It was pretty decently thick, most of it. In reality, this bowl could be made quite a bit bigger than it is right now. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea what these do with a little bit of work. Okay, a little bit different angle of the exhaust bowl. Okay, the short side radius on the exhaust. Basically, did something with that razor sharp edge. That's about it. Okay? Didn't hog it out or anything. Just give it a radius so air can get around it a little bit easier. Now the floor, literally all I did was take some rust off of it so the clay would stick better. The short side radius did get some work. I took that left corner out a little bit. You can still see the roof of the short side that had a little bit of work, but you can still see the casting mark on it. And this wall did get opened up a little bit due to my speeds, my air speeds, when it was completely stock. So that did have some metal taken out of that center of the cylinder side. Okay, I think I've shown you all the different views. Now let's take a look at our flows and see if we made it any better or we killed these beds. Okay, we're not looking at these pluses and minuses. We're not looking at these pluses and minuses. This is what Rob Z Head number 1 did, completely stock. This is 1 hour port job. Okay, let's take a look at our flows. Remember, the valve hasn't been changed, valve seat hasn't been changed, chamber hasn't been changed. All I did is a good rough out and paying attention to my original air speeds, changed the port a little bit. So how'd we do? Plus, 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 plus. Okay, awesome. How much of a plus? Well, down low, it's not that big a difference. Not that big a difference. By 300, we're starting to get a little headway. And after that, it just starts to crank. 253 at 500 with a street cam. You could do some damage with that. That would be actually a lot of fun. Somebody had it posted. I think it was Chad. Chad had, how many horsepower can you make with 250 CFM? You guys have to look that up because it was amazing. Chad's also really good. Okay, let's take a look at our swirl. Now, since we have more flow, we would think we would gain swirl. Well, guess what? These numbers versus these numbers, minus, 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 1 plus. Okay, why? Why, Charlie? How can the swirl go down if you're increasing the flow and increasing the velocity? Because this is with no clay in the floor, this is with no clay in the floor. So obviously you've increased the velocity because you're getting 40 CFM more out of the same port. Okay? I mean, if you look at your speeds at your pinch, right, versus your speeds at the pinch, they went up considerably. Well, I'm going to show you on the port why it happened that way. Because of the amount of area I had to take out of this side here just to shrink that boss up a little bit and get it the way I wanted to. That's why. And you'll be able to see it on the roof speeds too. Okay, our roof speeds with the port not filled were 210, 204. Not filled here, 229, 200. Okay, so let's put pluses and minuses in. Okay, as far as pinch speeds, we got pluses all across the board because we're pushing more air through. Center of the cylinder actually went up because I made it easier for the air to go around that way. It went down on the straight wall side. Are they more even than they were? 210, 204. 210, 204 is pretty darn close. They were more even stock than they are now. Okay, that would be something I think I would work on. Now let's take a look at our short side. Short side went up radically in speed. 412, almost 400, almost 400. Okay, and this is what they were. So we made it a lot easier for air to flow around the short side radius. Now these were taken at 600 lift, all of these measurements. So they're all of these airspeeds are all taken at the same lift. Okay, to make things more complicated, we're going to take the bone stock one with the filled floor and compare it to the quickie ported with the same exact amount of clay. Remember I took it out and I made a ball out of it? Well, I saved it. That way I put the exact same volume of clay in the same place so we could see the differences. So these pluses and minuses are in reference to what it flowed with the stock. See how much it went up. Plus, minus, plus, 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 plus. It went up everywhere, but how much did it actually go up? Let's say 200. We got 135 and change. 138, just a little bit. Yeah, 300, 188, almost 200. 200 is more like what I want to see. And you know what? We also have to look back at, compare these numbers to these numbers, right? This doesn't have the floor filled. As soon as you start filling the floor with a more efficient port, your airspeeds get very high. And we actually started losing from this side to this side, right? So that's kind of interesting. But as far as, let's finish this topped out at 217 and change. We topped out at 247, a little bit less than we did without the clay. Now, does that mean it would make less power? It doesn't mean that at all, right? So what we need to do now is compare our second bunch of numbers here with our second bunch of numbers here. Okay, second set of numbers here versus our second set of numbers here. Plus and equals. Look at how fast we are on the center of the cylinder side now. 240 on the roof. What it did was, when you fill the floor in, it forces the air up to the roof more. Okay, now it's going to be second set of numbers, short side radius, versus second set of numbers, short side radius, plus, plus, plus. And you know what? We didn't go over these. The roof at the pinch went down, and I'm sorry, it went up. It didn't go down, it went up. 287. I thought that was 267. And it went up in the center, and it is absolutely cranking on the floor. Okay, 400 means we're losing flow at that point. That's too fast. So that's interesting, because remember, the pinch was squished up by some of that clay, so there's less area there, so it's going to be faster. Now, probably could fiddle with the clay a little bit and bring these flows up a little bit more. It may even beat this, but we're not going to be doing that. And let's take a look at our short side second set of numbers versus these. Plus, plus, plus. Okay. Alrighty. I don't know what I have to say about that, but it's interesting what happens to the airspeeds when you fill the floor. Now, this last column is just the 1.6 exhaust, no back cut, but it's been ported, okay? So these, we would think, would be higher than stock. Let's put pluses and minuses in. Okay, guys. 1.6 no back cut, 2-inch pipe. These numbers versus these numbers. These pluses and minuses are in reference to these. Look at the hit we took on the low end. Why? Well, we didn't deshroud the chamber at all. Let's take a look how tight that chamber is. Okay, I'm pretty sure a little work in that chamber would help those low lift flow numbers. Plus, the valve job is not great. It's whatever stock valve job it is, so it's got all kinds of mountain ridges and in the way of the seat. That's going to suck up some flow. Okay, we're a loser all the way up to 300. After 300, we start to cook. And actually, it's not bad. I mean, considering it is a big port. I mean, I got the 318 ports up around that much, but these are way bigger ports, so they're going to have lower velocities throughout the port than the 318 ports. These were 155 with a pipe. These are 189 with a pipe. Actually, it's probably 157 because it's 600, and this one's at 600. Let's compare those airspeeds. Sorry guys, pause button got me again, so I apologize if I went over this twice. But, let's see. These pluses and minuses are in reference to the stock numbers, okay? Plus, 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 plus everywhere, but a lot of them didn't go up that much. Okay? Sorry. Ugh. That's what happens when you hit the pause button and it doesn't work, and then you throw the page away you were working on. Okay, these are our stock airspeeds. These are the reported airspeeds on our exhaust. How'd we do? Plus, 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 but a lot of them didn't go up that much. Okay? Look here, we were 51, went to 52, barely moved. 337, 338. This actually went down. That's a mistake. It's a minus. Okay, so I lost a little airspeed in that one corner. Alright, the rest of them are good. Okay, it isn't great because it's a very big port still, so it's tough to get it even anyway. Remember, somebody absolutely hogged the outside of that out. So to make it usable, I have to bring it out to that area, which is not ideal. But still, if you take a look at it, right? If you spent an hour on an intake and an exhaust combined, right? And you've got 253 at 500 with a street cam and 168 exhaust with a street cam, I think you guys need to do some engine modeling on a 360. What kind of power can you get out of those numbers on a 360? I know other guys can get impressive amounts of power out of that. All right, guys. I'm hungry as a bear. It's dinner time. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good night.